Grope.
You want to laugh, Russo?
Get back.
As the snow gently falls, infidels, and stacks up here on top of the missile silo. We're prepared for launch to kick your week off. The ride home? No, grab the shovel. It's time to shovel all the bullshit, the bird shit, the leftover Kendrick Lamar shit, the Kanye West bullshit, and all of the future endeavors to try and fill my spot on the Indies. Never going to happen, infidels. Here on the Monday Locker Room with R to the B to the V and Hacker Hamid. YOLO. Oh, yeah, man. Big Monday. It's going hardcore here in upstate, man. It don't stop snowing, dog. It don't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. More snow than a Diddy party with Hunter Biden attending. That's how much snow with Tony Khan knocking at the back door. But we're not knocking. We're kicking it in. Man, RBV's back in the house. Good to see you, buddy.
Absolutely. I mean, we survived that Super Bowl Sunday. Now we're getting settled in for a must HMG Monday. MLR coming back at you. Bro, you're getting the second round of the White Death here for 2025. You can see here, the sun is shining a little bit. That's the blind on. It's coming through there, but it's a false hope here in Southern Ohio as we are about ready to catch that white wave that's been hitting you. It's on its way here. Expect it to hit overnight. I think we're on the outskirts. We're not going to get it nearly as rough as you had. Nowhere near what we experienced at the beginning of the year. But man, I'm over. Let's just move on.
The wife just came back from a trip to Louisville in Florida, and they're miserable day one, and I don't blame them because that was 10, 12 inches last night. That's what she said. The day before was about 8. And then and now I'll probably go back out before I go to Sideburns and shovel another 6 to 8 because it's these big like feather size coming down, man. It just is a hardcore. But we've gotten off on winters 10 years maybe in a row where it's like cold and icy, but not like this. This is snow I haven't seen since I was a kid in the 80s and 90s.
That's one thing I miss living up in the Cleveland or Northern Ohio. It's a little inland from Cleveland, but right on Lake Erie, we got the lake effect. So it was cold as hell. It was icy, but it was like 2 towns over got all the snow. We rarely got dumped on like that up there, which was nice. Cold as hell, but didn't have the snow. Let me ask you this, man. I know you're a chopwood, carry water kind of guy. It's the old school in you. Maybe your pops would just take you out by the woodshed if you did otherwise. But how the hell do you not have a snowblower, son of a bitch? You're out there shoveling.
I do. I actually, but for some reason it won't go in gear. Like just this week, I was like, do I want to spend $1,200 on a new snowblower? I actually have my grandfather's from 1968 that we put a new Renegade motor on, and it chews snow, bro. But driving that thing is like taking a tank into battle. It just wreaks hell on your shoulders, but it's old school steel. But I tried to put it in gear. My dad just got back from vacation too, so I wasn't going to make him march out here. So I was like, maybe I can get through this week. But I got to say big shout out to my man Triple D, Dimitri Zordos from Dippin' Donuts, came through with the plow the other day and drilled the landing pad so we can make sure we get supplies in and out. So it was it's serious biz up here, and the snowbanks are coming up on 6-7 feet high. And that like you get it done, then you hear that plow come, and you're going back out to shovel out the end again. It's just a mother.
Now, I imagine over at Ravens, it's all part of the lease. They're taking care of a lot there for you. So
it better be with what I'm paying for it. So yeah, man, Ravens. It's always a battle with the wind, like maybe opening the doors or keeping the floors dry. So. But my team does a great job with the mop, and we got some fans just to try and make sure when they're tracking in, so nobody takes a spill. But and we got the black carpets, the removable ones. So every night that's a part of the closing procedures, and make sure they're clean because there's so much salt all over the place that we're mopping and cleaning every night. So, but the store looked great actually last night. My team there, I'm so proud of them. Like they just went into closing procedures. We closed an hour early for the Super Bowl. And man, they're just on it, and it makes me feel really, really, really good when I see that.
Did you guys? Did you run any specials like pack those Super Bowls or anything like that? Or
I can't. All I have is, I mean, that's brilliant, absolutely. But New York State only will let us do like if something's at the end of a run, because if we start lowering prices and things like I can bundle stuff for like Valentine's Day, like I've got a bunch of different chocolates and gummies that are for like Netflix and chill time, like that stuff. But I can't discount anything. I wish I had table breakers gummies for the Buffalo Bills fans, but unfortunately the NFL script played out bullshit. I could have probably made about 10 grand on gummies if the Bills would have made it to the Super Bowl, but what are you going to do?
Well, all right, so what's the shelf life on something like that that's specifically for the Bills? Can you ride that in? Obviously, you can feature those. Your specials. You don't have to discount things, but
it doesn't
get ready
matter
for the draft. Or
the amount that I order, it doesn't matter. I'm going to rip through them. They'll be sold out by 420. I'll have to reorder more. Like Bills fans are just getting them. Like, but I would if they were going, then I would have could have ordered like 300-400 units and rip through them all. But I order modestly and don't get in over our head. Like that was a big part of our original part of undertaking is we didn't have a lot of vault space to store stuff to start with, and we didn't know what was going to sell. So start small, don't get in over your head. And a lot of our vendors, in the beginning, when it still is the beginning, really, they want to push big orders and they don't know who they're working with. Well, you have net 30 days to pay that off. And if you got a bunch of, if you start having to rob Peter to pay Paul, well, that's not smart business sense, and some people just don't have that business sense. They're trusting and listening, but really the vendors have come back to us and said, you guys did it right. Because we instantly go to office mode of like, you're not going to out carny us. If you're trying to push something on us, we're going to teach you a lesson. Like you're
not going to out carny some carnies, outwork the workers, or out hustle the hustlers.
Exactly. And they didn't know that. And I tried to warn some of them, like, you don't know who you're fucking with. Kind of, I want to do great business with you, but I'm just letting you know who we are. And some of them had to learn the hard way, not from us. But from people that got in way over their heads, and then they're chasing them after 30 days for $20,000-$30,000 orders. I was like, no, that ain't gonna be us, B. So we've really slow played it as we come up. March 10th, our 1 year. We're 1 month away from our year anniversary. Excuse me. So it's been a crazy year, and I'm excited for 2025 all year, because this year we kind of set another record for ourselves for a non-holiday weekend in sales and stuff. So in the middle of February, bro. So it's only gonna, as weather gets better and we head to 420 and some big events coming up, I'm excited for the whole next year.
Yeah, year number 2 going to be bigger and better than year number 1 and keep it growing till you guys are ready to flip that bad boy. But Ben, yesterday the Super Bowl number 59 wasn't as dramatic as most people thought. There was fly, birds fly, the Eagles going out there and just putting a shellacking to Mahomes and the Chiefs, man. What's funny about it, though, the Eagles dominate the entire game, but you really had that sense at any moment, even up to like in deep into the fourth quarter, that somehow the Chiefs, or if you believe the script, if the call's in, the fix is in, that they're going to get back in this thing. So it kept people tuned in throughout the thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's family tradition and a reason to get your RBV eats on and enjoy. Enjoy it. I saw that big dirty sub you had. Holy shit, my butthole hurt just looking at that thing on the picture.
You had to throw down for in honor of Philly there. Hey, we got the super comments coming in there, the bits. I do want to apologize to the chat. I am using my phone today, waiting on a new charger for my laptop. So No, I can't see the chat, so I won't be able to give them their acknowledgments over there that I usually try to look out for. So I apologize to those guys.
We're filling up. All the usual suspects are here, including my man Charles Alford.
The Hammer.
The Hammer's in the house, man. So veteran Monday locker room to kick things off.
That was the Hammer yesterday. That front line of Philly. They only sent one actual blitz that entire game. It was just that front four that were so dominant in getting that pressure. They were like one sack off of a Super Bowl record yesterday.
Yeah, I think
just putting the pressure on Mahomes.
It's a whole team effort because you got to score, and they did what they needed to do in the first half for sure. But they summed it up that this is a big man game. They're even comparing Super Bowl I guys who your top big men were like 260 pounds, 6'2". Now it's 6'8", 380 is like kind of where you're at with these guys. And that Philly defense with the picks and whatnot, they just made them pay. You can't have turnovers, especially like that. And 10-yard line, they're gonna make you suffer. So I don't know, the game is the game, and I think Buffalo should have been there, so I'm not gonna go into Mahomes sucks or the refs did this. There was, even in the first half, just like these stupid little calls that automatically felt like a work, so I kind of tuned out on the football. But some things that caught my eye, obviously, was the hate for Kendrick Lamar. It's very interesting. I feel that
I want to hold off on that to get past the game to talk about the real heat. This is the halftime heat.
Well, let me preface this with the other heat too, because this is the correlation and kind of the bipolarness of the stands of entertainment fans. So we have Charlotte come back in the Royal Rumble, and everyone does like a half pop, right? Like, oh, she's back, and then go over, which was not the right decision. Chelsea Green should have gone over. And Charlotte could have reacted and spun off into her first feud of starting to make other girls into top tier workers, as opposed to going over and I just need the WrestleMania spot, whatever. The next night on Raw, she comes out to do the teary, you don't know what I've been through empathy thing. And she's a natural heel, and the crowd starts booing her on a shoot going against their creative. Wow. How much of a parallel is that to Taylor Swift sitting there with satanic Ice Spice doing fucking stupid Illuminati hand gestures, thinking they're going to keep playing this Illuminati deep state shit. And the crowd is so fed up with having to see her the last 2 years and being spoon fed. It's the exact same parallel of I'm over and I get to go and do what I want. And then when the royalty comes out in front of the peasants like, fuck you, bitch. And they want that same thing that's in Game of Thrones when they take Cersei's out and they strip her down and they march her through the people, bro. Like, this is human nature. And we've seen it in wrestling in the last week. We saw it at the Super Bowl with an entirely different crowd who's tired of being force-fed these acts that aren't really that talented, that have a huge machine behind them, that brainwash all of society into having like these stupid relationships that are made up by their agents. It's all a complete work and lie. And then like everyone feels like, ha, got them. And we all unite and sing Take Me Home Country Roads across the board. The whole place is singing it just off of the Titantron playing it. Nobody's there playing it live in a John Denver, honoring America type thing. And then instead we get the Jay-Z handpicked Illuminati torch pass show instead of getting Lil Wayne in New Orleans. And believe me, I'm no Lil Wayne fan. I don't think he's fucking that great. I think that's when hip hop took a terrible turn, was that Lil Wayne Ludacris era. It's never been decent since that took over in whatever cabal CIA op that hip hop turned into. And now we got this kid, Kendrick Lamar, who's given this pass because he had a manufactured beef with Drake where they wanted to out pedophiles and they think it's good. I listen to this dude. It sounds like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse fucking rapping, and it's not cool. It has no hook or anything that anybody's down with. And they're just force feeding it to you, force feeding more bullshit. And you're like, okay, so we hate that Illuminati show, but we're not going to stop this one with Jay-Z, who's probably on fucking so many Diddy lists that it's ridiculous. And this, we're letting them have their own little behind the scenes hip hop beef. What demographic is that for? Because you and I think in business sense and marketing promoter, they got the males 18 to 49. They got the fucking females because the wives are there doing the family thing. We got to get those 10 to 18-year-old girls and fucking suburban kids who want to tune into Kendrick because we marketed to them. Because until I got the new truck, I would listen to 100.3 Big Boy in the morning. Big Boy. And they play the same 11 songs. And for 2 years straight, all they played was fucking the Kendrick Lamar, turn this TV off, and the fucking Drake, they not like us bullshit. At least with Drake, you know his songs and they have a hook. Like nobody knows any of these things just because a corporate radio station force fed to these kids. This is what we're supposed to have as the Unite America fucking moment. This jabroni MC. Kendrick Lamar is not good. J. Cole is not good. None of them are good. They can't even come close to the level of a B card fucking rapper of the 90s. And we're supposed to act like mumble rap or because he's from Compton that this shit's over or he's got a crew, bro. I got a crew too. And none of your crew will come to the fucking 7 feet of snow and come check us at camp. Like these fake fucking gangsters. He'll be wearing a dress in 2 years to get in his next Kevin Hart buddy movie, dude. I'm so tired of the marketing and the bullshit. And in the same show, we have the adverse reaction to it. And even if people were hating on how shitty it was, that they put this kid front and center to do that shit, bro. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
What do you think about? Obviously, they knew they were going to hit a mark or miss a mark here hit a nerve, miss a mark with a big part of the audience, that older demographic where they have Samuel Jackson essentially narrating this thing to tell you what you should be.
Have to give them the rub with this guy and have it's Sam, he's saying it, so it must be legit. Like,
right, to give it that credibility, like, they say this isn't ghetto or this is the American way or something, so they're trying to set that tone, knowing that a large portion of the audience is going to be completely lost on this thing.
It was just terrible, bro, especially if you're coming off of 90s Gen X where you got Eminem with Dre, with Snoop, with fucking 50, and then you're going to like try and push us over. Well, hip hop got over. Yeah, it got over because those who are in the buyer's market are looking for a nostalgia rub. No one who fucking is a Kendrick Lamar fan spends money. They're all children. And Rick and Frank saying Kendrick's 40. Yeah, but they're marketing him like he's 22 because it takes 20 years of Illuminati dick sucking to get over in this business, dude, to get to that point where they anoint you're going to be the one, until he goes crazy and he's on Twitter like Ye saying I'm a Nazi or I love Hitler or some shit like that, dude, because they break them the same way they break Katy Perry, Amanda Bynes, fucking Britney Spears. You are seeing in real time this shit continue instead of going, can someone arrest Jay-Z, please? Can we just stop that and take everything away from these fucking sick bastards, bro, who are constantly making money off of others' torture? Like how if you were really put in that position, same as the fucking whoever the ass face who did the Olympics opening, putting all the woke fucking cross-dressers in the Last Supper and go, we didn't do it on purpose. You're fucking liars, bro. You gots to go. And now Jay-Z with the microscope on him makes this choice to stick to the Illuminati masters. It's only going to blow up, or else they're that far inside their own bubble that they can't see it. When the president's there, this was your chance to maybe get a get out of jail free card and do something like Take Me Home Country Roads did organically. If that doesn't put the fucking light bulb off of where you need to hit the audience to keep your own ass out of a sling, now people are going to want to smash Jay-Z because of how fucking shitty that was and that push was on there, bro. They just don't get it, or else they do, and they want their ass paddled hard. Like it's some subconscious come get me shit, bro.
Yeah, a lot going on there. Hey, some pro wrestling representation there at the Super Bowl on the WWE side. Seen some photos surfacing of the McMahons. Shane was there. Vince, looking like Vince, didn't have like the old creepy Walt Disney look, with the dyed hair and the the drawn on mustache. He kind of looked like the Vince that we remember, Vince old Undertaker. Enjoying a few cocktails there. Saw him on the AEW side. Tony Khan had posted a photo of himself from up in the suites. Shad had, did you get to see that luxury yacht that he had parked there in the bay down there at New Orleans? That bad boy. Then Monet and Swerve, they did some photo ops together at the Super Bowl and then posted individual stuff on their Instagram. So some pro wrestling representation. To me, not enough. I was keeping my eye out on social media, on the different channels, what kind of coverage was there. This is a big social gathering, especially in the West, in the States. A great time to get your product, that notoriety out there, especially for somebody like AEW that, we still don't know those call letters. A lot of people still don't know that they exist, and to be able to shine and showcase what you are on a level like this. If I'm TK, I would have been buying up some airtime and running some kind of fun commercials there, but.
Yeah, dude, that you're not wrong, especially with the end of what he has with his team, so or surround himself with his team and put his wrestlers with that, like a couple of guys to give that rub. Yeah, Vince looked lean and good and healthy, actually. Whether that's a wig, I think it very might have been a wig.
It looked good though. I mean, he looked like I remembered him looking like.
Yeah, and then it's a candid picture of Shane. Shane looks a little thick, like me, out of shape, but still whoop some ass, I guess. But what I had heard,
he looked pissed off in his picture too, like he was ready to get out there and get on the field, man.
Yeah, that's one candid shot, though,
Right.
So like it puts some weird narrative that we want to make that probably isn't
true. He might have had some money on the Chiefs now, and what the hell?
Oh yeah, he might have. I wouldn't doubt that for sure. But yeah, I had heard that Shane was kind of disconnected from the family, except for his mom. So that's interesting to me that they were together, and maybe the information I had been told third hand wasn't accurate at all. So telegraph, telephone, tell a wrestler, but me and Mark Callis doing his thing too. So yeah, I don't know, man. If I just had more crazy shit come out about me in an updated court,
no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. I might not be out in public where fucking somebody can catch a viral video, you know what I mean?
Isn't that such a Vince thing to do, though?
Yeah, it's dangerous, though. It is. It does play to the narcissism, no doubt.
Kind of to tie in, it's been a week or so since we've been on air, but last time we were talking about maybe some future endeavors for Vince McMahon. And you had mentioned you heard some rumblings that next big sports entertainment venture for him might be in the world of boxing. I thought it was pretty interesting while they were down on press row during Super Bowl week. Ari Emanuel from Endeavor, TKO, stopped by the Pat McAfee show, which was a great listen. If anybody out there, check out when you can hear an interview with Ari, man. He's really articulate, smart guy, got a great vision for sports entertainment. I enjoyed it. But he talked about that might be the next move for them. They have merged the MMA game with UFC and wrestling with WWE to look into boxing. And on my mind immediately went to you mentioning that might be the next big move for Vince McMahon. Is he still in bed with those guys? Is there going to be some kind of deal struck with all parties involved?
Yeah, they're going to get Tyson Fury. They're going to get Canelo and like huge paydays. $20 million paydays are going to go to $200 million under the Saudis, bro, because they make that on interest every day in the market.
Yeah.
Like that's nothing to them. So, like I said, it's all a front load for Islam to be injected into world culture at the end of the day, and for the Saudis to get to play outside of the lines of, or get to play Americana in their own way where it doesn't cross Muslim tradition too much, so we want to see the women wrestle, but put them in skin tight fucking ice skating gear, because we couldn't see the top of a breast, but we'll see the complete outline of your body. Oh, okay, because it's written in some book from 50,000 years ago. Yeah, they that's what they said. If you ever have a women's Royal Rumble, make sure all of them are fully clothed, but not.
We have that coming up. They have announced the Saudi Rumble.
It's Riyadh season. What's interesting to me is the compromising position that son of the Mossad, as you said, it was an amazing interview, Ari Emanuel, because in the same thing, Yeezy's breaking down probably while he's on that show, saying Ari Emanuel is the one that fucking targeted me and had my deal cut. So you're talking about high-level representatives in Hollywood, and look who's on Ari Emanuel's representation list, not just the CEO of TKO. He's a personal agent for everyone from The Rock to Al Pacino and you think like these are the people who get you to be a global name. And they went against Adidas, and Yeezy's out here saying Jew this every other word, and then he starts naming people. So Ari can go on and fucking do all the Mr. Sunshine he wants. And I'm not saying Yeezy's anybody to be trusted. However, truth and comedy, you wouldn't put that guy's name out there if there wasn't real vindictiveness. So he can go on Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee can go, our boss, Mr. H, and cheerlead and all that shit.
That's what he did, baby. He put him over.
Pat McAfee got fucking $50 million. That's the Dave Chappelle deal, isn't it?
Well, we got that, and they announced on there that Ari got Pat. He's going to cross over. He's got some roles coming up in Hollywood now, so he's going to be doing some movie spots.
Yeah, so now he's the next Brian Bosworth. Awesome. You make a deal with the fucking devil, bro. Like, this is what we're seeing in real time. And Yeezy did the exact same thing, and now 6 years later, he's throwing them under the bus and doesn't give a shit. And they keep on going, but they come out and go, aren't I the best promoter, or aren't I this? And all they're doing is acting like they want to be Zionists, but then they sell out to the money marks of the fucking Saudi royal family, and everybody's got their own self-interest, but they want to act like it's for the good of the sport when it's really a big covert op of Judeo-Christianity versus Muslim in a fucking marketing war. And guess what? The fucking Islam guy's got a lot more money, and guess who likes money? Better not say that out loud, otherwise you're fucking gonna be damned. Like, it just is a stuck on this repeat loop of the holy wars, but instead of killing each other with swords and pitchforks in a fucking battlefield, now they're doing it for mega millions of dollars, and it's all this big circus, and behind the scenes are the real major players, bro.
Bro, I don't know.
Hamas won't fucking just said they're not going to release more hostages. It just is. It's like it's so sickening to have to look at the surface level when you know what the truth is below it.
I'm absolutely. Where I'm sitting here in Southern Ohio, I'm taking that deal with the devil all day, every day.
Yeah, I got you.
We got Jews in the house.
Where? I don't see any, but we're all right here. We're all right here in my bunker here this afternoon.
Shabbat shalom, yeah, dog.
You know how I mean. So yeah, the big Super Bowl NFL season wrapped up, all behind us here. Move forward. We've got coming up next weekend, NBA, the All-Star weekend. AEW, they got the Grand Slam. They're heading down under the Jimmy T's neck of the woods. He was telling me yesterday, I did Smack Attack with him. He said it has been an absolute disaster down there with the booking of the Grand Slam. It was one of those moves they had. It was going to be a stadium show. They were well short of what they expected, where it was going to be just embarrassing had they stuck with the stadium. So they went to an arena. He was telling me there is such a huge mess with the transferring of the tickets. People that were paying from like $750 to $1,000 for ringside have been moved like 20 rows back. There's all sorts of outrage, and they went from that high ticket mark to they're doing BOGOs now for the arena because they still can't fill the indoor show. They're airing this thing supposedly live here in the States. It's going to air in place of Collision but it's not going to be till probably like 11 p.m. Eastern because it's going to run after the NBA stuff, after the All-Star Saturday Challenge competition. So a big swing and a miss here for AEW. I mean,
That's too bad, man. Especially with more future endeavors probably coming. I mean, you usually don't see WWE future endeavors before Mania.
Were you surprised to see that in the first quarter instead of waiting?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, that's a big shift, right? Like, and all of them are justifiable, absolutely. Like,
I was going to say,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say I was, instead of going through each name here, if anybody out there, if you're with us on Channel Attitude, if it's still live up on the YouTube, go check it out. But the vet on Wreckage did a great job of just going name by name and spending, 3 to 5 minutes breaking down the whys. But, ultimately all around, what Vet was saying is these aren't people that we were missing on television.
No.
And none of them were big surprises.
Yeah. So just to tie back to your original question, like Tony Khan can't even get his own people over. So people being future endeavored in 90 days, like what hope do they really have to go to someplace to be successful as an alternative? And it really is time for Tony Khan to stay owner, but he's got to eliminate himself from the creative process and really even the production process and just be an owner and be happy that he could hire some real creatives to come in and give his company a chance, because at this point the brand is pretty much completely ruined. It does give a platform for performers to kind of show brilliance, but there's no continuity, congruity, or epic storytelling that's making people must tune in. It's all more ridiculousness. Nobody's got an idea of how to shape an entire show, let alone months of shows that build to something where tickets won't be an issue because the business is must see. The heel is we have to see them be beat by the Australian hero. Instead, we flip-flop back and forth thinking moves and changing a character, then changing back is going to do it. It's not. It really isn't. The one girl, I can never think of her name. She's pretty new, but obviously super talented, doing ventriloquism work.
Oh, Cameron.
Wow, dude. Like, if there's one thing in improv that I would also carry over, well, a lot of things I do, Del Close would say the work can handle anything. And it can. A parody puppet that cuts a better Mercedes.
It should be gold.
Better Mercedes Monet promo than Mercedes Monet can cut as a puppet, taken right out of really Trailer Park Boys with Bubbles and Conky, the puppet that says all the things that Bubbles can't in a very, so Conky's a heel, even though it's Bubbles subconscious. That's the game. And good artists create, great artists steal and make it their own. And that is exactly what she did. Jeff Dunham is one of the biggest draws in the history of fucking comedy, even though his comedy isn't great. The fact that he has all these puppet characters and does the different voices made him a multi-millionaire, bro. And now this girl who has a incredible voice, I watched her do a couple songs and shit. This is why we call it sports entertainment. Bumps mean nothing. Joe Hendry gets over doing a Creed parody song. Like, people want to be entertained, and then all we need is one guitar shot. We don't need to. They could have made millions upon millions of dollars with Elias and his talent, and brought in Eddie Vedder and done.
Speaking of, just signed to AEW.
Right, but to split with a 3-man crew. Did we not do this same thing with Aleister Black, and how'd that work out? You have the wrong guy at the helm who doesn't understand how to get things over, even if you give, Elias just like the fucking, give me a tuber, I'm going to get you something out of it. I'm an artist from The Departed, right? Like, that guy is going to do it, but still you're not playing to making him the solo top guy that he could have been. You could have had Rusev as your top guy. You could have had fucking Wardlow, and we'd got nothing. So all I'm worried about is here's another opportunity for this guy to get not over and he'll earn a paycheck, but he's not going to create a legacy. And then Aleister Black's going back to WWE. Why? They fucked him up 3 times before. They had him to restart it 3 times. You think the 4th time's going to get it with everybody standing out for Triple H's fucking alleged brilliant creative? I haven't seen anything brilliant. The ratings don't. What was this week's Netflix? I didn't even see that come out because we started at 5.9 and we're 5 weeks later. People ask me, is it going to be a success or not? I go, give me 16 weeks and I'll fucking tell you. So if we're below 2.2 this week, then we're on a constant decline.
Is this, do you attribute that to the major shift in when we see these annual cuts? Hey, we gotta, because our numbers, we're selling numbers right now for success, not viewership, not good storytelling and character development. We're just talking financials for the company, which are booming. No denying that. All-time high for WWE. So they're trimming fat wherever they can to pad their first quarter numbers here.
Yeah, there's reasons to let people go, but those contracts aren't big enough to really put a dent.
Every little bit or something like that. I mean, yeah, it's just weird that they would move to this quarter.
They're pumped because Trump's doing it, and they're like, we'll fucking fire people too right now, like to get it over. Like it is interesting, but none of them.
Yeah, they are getting they're firing the minorities, the foreigners, and the LGBTQ. So they're on that jump train, getting away with it right now.
That's the Good Brothers' whole gimmick right there.
Hot Asian wipes,
Yeah, man. What not makes me laugh, but like, let's take Isla Dawn or one of the other girls or whoever that got clipped. What's that say about you? Like, she worked in the Indies. And I think she came from, NXT UK, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, she's a UK girl.
But, right. So she put her time in, but you put her through the program. You got her up there. You put these fake belts that mean nothing on her, and they actually had character. And why, like, nobody wants to see witches become tag team champions. You want to see witches. What do witches do?
You want them casting spells and menacing and
spells and fucking all the satanic,
a little mysterious, kind of weirdo stuff that makes you a little uncomfortable to be around, and
goth girl weirdo shit. No goth girl shows up in high school and fucking wins the trophy of the fucking sport, bro. They hate the popular girl. They want to tear them down, and they usually lose. That's why they have to go darker and make believe into a world of misery and magic. But instead we go, we'll put the belts on and that'll get them over. Belts are props, and when they didn't get over, now you just ruined your prop, and it didn't make any goddamn sense for what the characters were supposed to be. So WWE spent how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in payroll and in marketing for that girl. And how much value did they get back? And then I'm supposed to
almost zero on your ROI.
And who was in command when she came through NXT?
Old Trips, right?
You got it.
Trips and Sean. She was part of that 2.0. She was, there was a variation. I think she was at 2.0, but.
So why is it not on them going, you don't know how to get anybody over? This girl was hand trained by you, brought up onto the main roster by you, and you didn't have any plan for them. So now you just hired somebody off the indies to take them off of it, put them through the whole program, and you never got one red cent. Does that sound like creative brilliance and genius to me? No.
It's just bad business all around.
Yes. But when does that blame get fucking handed? No, it's to the girl. She just couldn't get over and da.
How much do you lend towards? Okay, we look at everybody that was cut here, and you go to the cookie cutter, just a clog in the machine. They've got all right. Just what's on the shelf? We've got 10 more of those. Let's go. I look at a Cedric Alexander, athletic as hell, great shape, great ability in the ring. Not
Trick
much
Williams,
character there. Well, they look over. We've got Trick. We've got the new NXT champ. We've got a ton of good-looking younger models of him ready to go.
You got Street Profits, and that dude. You can't get that dude over. What's his name? Montez Ford. Dude, that guy's got everything you could possibly want in charisma, athletic ability, and then even when he was heel, he had his own truth of being pissed off of being like not put there, right? Like that guy comes through the camera more than all those other guys that you just mentioned and Cedric Alexander. And I'm not just be like, well, we got one black, we got 15 Samoans now, and none of them are special. So, like, give me another athletic black guy who can dunk, big fucking deal. We couldn't get the guy who's really more seasoned and better than all the ones behind him even a shot to get over, like even get something started out of the gate. How can you not? The guy's got money written fucking all over him. And even when his wife is over, how are you not going to tie it in more that way? Even if it's a professional jealousy or somebody trying to get in his ear about it, like a shit stir, like a Karrion Kross or somebody.
You even run a reality show based around them. You know, the Love and Wrestling show. You know, they've got that out there, which flops because you don't put any marketing, advertising behind it. You don't tie it into a story where, you know, to entice people to go, oh, I want to go see what's going on outside the ring with these two, you know, that flood over from the programming. We didn't get any of that.
As a heel, he could be brilliantly anti-office. Let's go this way. His wife is over as a baby, huge merch seller, beloved by everyone, great attitude, da-da-da-da. We even have the at-home life show. He gets more and more jealous. It's about her. Triple H is stonewalling him. He claims racism. Triple H says, I don't see race. And he goes, roll that DX footage where Triple H is in blackface. Now we've got something real, right? Like if Triple H fucks up his wife's push even in a little bit, he's going to push back that way and da-da-da, or they're caught in the middle and we have these awkward tensions, bro.
And you've got that Easter egg of where you're egging on, no pun intended there, the IWC, that internet wrestling community that's out there crying that Triple H is just as racist as anybody else in the business.
You got it, dude. Like, this is what real heat is, how you bring that shit in. And then behind the scenes, they're all laughing that they're really working everybody at a very high level, you know, but we don't even scratch the surface with that. It's we fired her from Pure Fusion Collective because now we feel like we've paid back all of the fucking woke culture and the fact that she had a stalker because of us. She got an extra 3 years. So let's move her out and nobody do guns in. But now Zoe Starks is the sniper because snipers are by themselves and they need to, but they're really not. There's two people in a sniper spot. So like, it's just more of the stupidest shit that is not going to get over whatsoever. It doesn't matter. Whatever her name is, Bird Girl can come out and put her hands like this and do a side Randy Orton because that's what they taught her. That isn't going to get her over, not one fucking bit. Not the Intercontinental Championship, which is now not established because this girl who's not over, Lyra Valkyrie, is not going to get over. And really, when you even start out with Lyra Valkyrie, you're doing a rib on Taya Valkyrie. And I don't know why you would even allow that except to go, whatever you say, Sean, while they get their shit in on Tyra for whatever reason, who's 10 times the performer than most of the girls you have.
Who was only in the company for maybe a sip of coffee.
Yeah,
you know,
and everyone's going, they're the best. These guys are the best bookers ever, bro. And the girl they put the title on, they should have put it on Natty Hart to give it real legacy out of the gate, tied it to her name. Then she could have done business and got this girl over. These guys who were supposed to be the greatest of all time because they stole, actually, Sean and Game stole the whole fucking thing from Road Dogg and Billy Gunn anyway. Like, they just glommed onto it and made themselves DX the same way as, fucking, oh, here comes the Spirit Squad. They're getting over by themselves. We better go over there and do business and act like we gave them the rub. Oh, here's Eugene getting himself over. We better go over there and make sure we get the fucking act like we got him over. They're just fucking carnivores on other people's creativity, bro. But they act like we're the ones who fucking did it. And here we are with a girl named Lyra Valkyria. No rib on Tyra Valkyrie, whatever. And still not doing things the right way to shine the belt to make it the most prestigious you possibly could on its inception. Instead, we got two girls who probably should have never been taken off the indies, to be honest with you.
So again, the big news this week, the cuts that came out first quarter from WWE. Again, everybody's a fan of these people, but nobody was missing them beforehand. A lot that could go into the thing, but not going to be missed with it. Ben, I had mentioned yesterday, this past week was the first week in a long time that Monday through Saturday, the entire week, Sunday through Saturday. I watched every bit, at least portions of every bit of every show, even TNA. I even watched WoW on Saturday night. And you and I had talked about this a couple times in the past, but it was more painfully obvious than ever before that the presentation of pro wrestling today, it just needs to be reimagined, burned down, and just built back up. Essentially, we're working on the same television format that we've been working on since Russo implemented in the 90s, and it hasn't changed, where we get the same old, and now, at least when Russo had it, you had different, you could buy into the characters. The people with the mic time actually had a message. They could talk, they could deliver. Now we're just getting this nonstop. This past SmackDown had segments, every segment had over exaggerated mic time for people that have no business. We need someone like you that has that background from the stage, from the theater, from the improv, that knows the fundamentals of wrestling, that can reimagine this whole damn thing. And as you're saying, more of that reality-based, different cuts, things like that. But it's brutal to get through these things.
Yeah, dude. Well, let's rewind.
WoW was the most entertaining show I watched this week because it's filmed so different. It has the different vignettes that introduce you to characters, and it doesn't have the in-ring talking. The wrestling's god awful, but it's fast-paced. They're not, long drawn-out matches. You go in there, you get whoever you got to get over, you tell the story, you move on.
Yeah, but you've got a legit movie studio behind you, and you're doing nothing with it in WWE. Instead, we're back to the opening Triple H 25-minute promo when him and Steph would sit there and fucking mentally masturbate in the fucking ring. And people are like, why am I fucking watching this? Now I get to watch it with Jey Uso or Cody comes out and puts them over, and it just doesn't stop, and there's no teeth to it. That is terrible writing, and look who is at the helm crafting it. The guy who said, well, I was over and this is the way it was when I did it. Like, absolute false positives. When we have characters that we start and we don't do anything with, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Very entertaining. Now we can add a third girl to them. And if we're going to do it, and we're going to she's the U.S. champion, and we're going to play the president with the Secret Service, which I think that's a great. Boom, who's another character? Well, we need a Speaker of the House because the president doesn't come out and speak every day, or the Speaker of the House, but the podium chick. So somebody needs to come deliver the decrees of Chelsea Green. Somebody like is in Piper Niven's ear, like there's another security.
That's a great character to tie in your social media to continue storylines,
yes.
To drive people through your socials, have the daily Chelsea Green update where she has a spokesman. Yes. She could start naming, her cabinet or people that are head of, the secretary of catering for her, or secretary of wardrobe, whatever the case might be.
Secretary of sex, and that's how you bring back Matt Cardona. He's just her boy toy, and fucking you do role reversal with fucking men objectifying women.
You have him playing the first lady.
Yeah, 100%. He has to walk around with his abs getting all greased and shit like that. Like, you could bring in a bunch of characters and do entertainment and actually tape stuff and make it look presidential and regal. And she's a fucking Canadian, which is the ultimate rib of it all. You know what I mean?
Which would be so good about that, because like how every first lady has always had one of those just like cheesy, just even like with Nancy Nate, it was Nancy Reagan, the DARE program, or Michelle Obama with ruining school lunches. You have Cardona come in where he's got to get these fat wrestling fans in shape, like abs for everybody or something like that.
RFK shit. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. There's so many things you could do to parody what's going on in real life. You know what I mean? And that's how you get an Elon Musk on camera. You know what I mean? Somebody calls to stooge her off, and Doge comes to audit Chelsea Green, and you get her to react like she's A+ entertainment. Now, my point is, somebody standing in the ring doing a self-aggrandizing baby promo, or your writers actually get to go produce, direct, build sets, have something off-site, and people can't wait till next week to see the State of the Union address, to see what the update is going to be from the controversy fallout of Raw and what the statements are going to be, that she's boots on the ground where they needed her most, like all that kind of shit, bro. Like, it just is so all right in the palm of their hand, and they pat themselves on the back and they do none of that shit. They'll drop the pebble in the pond, and already Piper Niven's back to wearing her kind of medieval garb. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, remind me like some gladiator shit or something
gladiator
like that.
shit, right? Like, doesn't look bad, but we've already established that she's now the head of Chelsea's Secret Service. Got to have all new gear. Can't go backwards. So why are we starting these programs if the costuming isn't even in place? How is the idea going to be in place? We do a fucking whodunit with Jade Cargill and never follow up. It just becomes wrestle crap from now until the end of time. Like, absolute
It's there with
laziness.
GTV.
Yeah. And I got to sit here and listen to other pundits go, this guy's the best, bro. It's just, you have this $1 billion machine behind you and you can't even do the bare 10%. Like, you work your whole ass life to get to this point, to have that kind of creative power. And that's all you do with it week after week. I couldn't make it through more than an hour. I made an hour and 40 on SmackDown. I had to tap. I couldn't do any more.
That's why I say I watched, parts of each one, because I would fall into a lull and switch away and forget to go back to it and be like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Or, I'd go to social media and be like, oh shit, I was watching that. Let me go back and find that. So let me add, so if we got,
Artist Returns gets it. Like, dude, all these people are getting future endeavored. Let somebody have if Donald Trump signs all these things, he sits there.
The executive orders.
Yeah, the future endeavored orders, and Chelsea has to sign each one of them and go, oh, I really like this person. That's too bad, but it had to be done. And just signs. And you don't even have to say the person's name. Oh, he should have been more. I mean, I like the Hurt Business. I mean, but you don't have to say the person's name. Everything can be
when he gets to the Good Brothers, be like, there's no room. Like, I'm the only hot Asian around here. So even though she's, the joke, she's not even, or I'm the only hot foreigner around here. The hot foreign wife or whatever.
Yeah, set that up until it gets to Piper Niven or somebody has to be, and then her getting that can turn Piper baby, and now we're in a real blood feud. I'm gonna let your secrets out and all these types of things. Matt Cardona was sleeping with Piper Niven the whole time, whatever. Like,
hey, we were talking about lost angles. We could bring back the GTV for that or something. It's just so if we've been hearing for going into the ruthless aggression era when Stephanie graduated and took over, and she brings in a room full of writers. I was under the impression that we're getting these writers from Hollywood. I mean, why aren't they pushing for more things like this? Why are we continue to just use the same format that we've had for the last 30 years?
I don't think we are using the same format. Usually when Russo would write,
it is a water. I hate to say the same, but it's basically the same. It's a shell of that structure.
Because you can show up and their structure is shit. When Russo wrote it, you'd start with an inciting incident. In almost every movie that's an action movie, you have to intro the heel first with their inciting incident so the hero can go on the hero's journey to overcome the heel. That's fucking almost everything we always do. And you want to intro the heel first so you can make your baby off of your heel. Or you have the baby there who's innocent, and some inciting incident that's very evil is what is the catalyst for them to start their journey. We don't do that. We come out and have the baby faces fucking pander and get their catchphrase over, and then the heel does a run in and pussies out. Instead of the heel, here comes the baby face, we can't wait to hear what they have to say. Boom, hit them with your car, cut them off, whatever it is. So you take away what the audience wants, and that we show the evilness of the heel and taking spotlight or whatever their grudge is. So Vince would start with an inciting incident that was usually an action sequence of somebody rolling up, or there's a fight already in the back in progress. You know what I mean? And we're rushing back there to heighten quickly. Like, let's get the adrenaline going. It's first pop. The first and second spot are the easiest parts on the card to work because you can drop whatever fucking thing first. I've had my students come off the fucking top rope with nothing more than a club down, and the whole place goes crazy because they're waiting to pop in the first spot. What do these guys do? Go and kill the crowd for 20 minutes. No inciting.
Yeah,
incident.
people are. That's when they're excited. You got the smell of the arena. You've got to the merch
yeet shit
table.
over. Yeah, they
You've
get
got
the yeet shit over and then nothing. We have no promo, no advancement of storyline, no what happened last week. Just we're proud of you. Put yourself over. Da 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 da. Dude, there's so many things in improv of the formless form, Bruce Lee, Jake Kundo, the Herald format, starting with a group game that breaks that brings up the themes of the show. Then we break down into scenes 1A, 1B, 1C. 3 different 2-person or 3-person scenes. So in that beginning, we could have a walkthrough in the back where we see everybody's business. Then we break off and do one business, break off, do another, break off, do that. Then we come back into another group game that is advanced in the storyline. Could be something completely random. Could be all of the management, not the wrestlers this time, that have some beef in here. Then we come back and revisit scenes 1A, 1B, and 1C in 2A, 2B, and 2C. But the story should have progressed by that time. And the main character that started it might not be the character that we went with. Could have started with Bloodline with a Sammy walk-in, and we follow Sammy instead of the Bloodline or what have you, anything. All those scenes go to the next exposition until the third beat where they all come together and those businesses will organically cross based on what we had to do. Killer Cross might be the catalyst that knocks into one, that knocks into the other, that knocks into the other after he's been plotting chaos all night long. Could be the spell that Isla Dawn put on somebody, makes them shit their pants and fucking they miss their match and somebody does a run in and gets the ultimate spot. I don't know whichever way you want to fucking put it, there's billions of choices. That's called the Herald. That's one fucking format. And it usually lasts about 25 to 30 minutes on an improv stage because our scenes are only 2 minutes long. We could do that and put the matches in between them and fill out a whole show if you wanted to. And at the end, when we edit, the fans will have a whole ride that they went on following these individual worlds. I can name 10 other forms. The Armando Diaz experience, Jacob's Ladder, where one scene folds into the next throughout the whole show. Everything just bumps up into the next thing and sets it in motion and away it goes. If you know these formless forms, what gets fit in them can be changing. And if you could put on a Herald 1 week, Armando
I was going to say, so you could mix them up each week, so it's not the same format. You're on your toes. Which style of show are we going to get?
Yes, and when you graduate Improv Olympic in Second City after you've gone through 6 levels and you've been with your team that they kind of core you with for 2 years, your job is to invent a format of how it is. So you could start, let's call the format, I'm just organically doing this, callback, where we start with a memory from long ago and you look back on something and then we see the exposition of where we got to this point. And then we do a callback on somebody else's character and see how it all drew them in. All the way, let's say we did all that to the Elimination Chamber, and now each one of those people are in one of those pods, and we know all the backstory of how it got there and what influenced them, if we would set it up that way, possibly. These are all just like a fucking martial arts kata, but you get to decide what moves are in there and what characters are featured, bro. But you think Triple H knows that shit, bro?
How cool would that be? You know, even that you mentioned with the Elimination Chamber, they have that ultimate investment for all 6 of those guys. Big ass names right now where we have just been revisited and they're all tied together in this rich history and now getting ready to throw down inside of this demonic structure. I mean, that's a huge selling point.
But you have 6 spaces. So that means you need 6 weeks of show beforehand where we dedicate at least 15 minutes to a half hour to each man and his journey getting to that point. And how do we do that? Through pre-tape VTRs, look back, a sit-down 5-minute thing that lets them answer.
I like to let's go follow them in their everyday life and do that. Show us what they got going on and talk about the memories about coming there, or Punk and Cena, how those intertwined back in the day.
So now you're talking about a form within a form, which I love. So not only do we have what we're trying to do to get to there, but inside each guy's individual loop, we also have a sub format that we follow to condition our audience that works in the old school indie footage, the sit down stuff, the fucking torment, the social media posts, the fly through, the reactions on, and that's the package now. Do the next one on Cena, do it on this guy. You have a team of writers and billionaire fucking production equipment, and no one can get off their ass to do this kind of shit, bro. And if not, that's why I would have been best suited in NXT to bring this type of, creative due diligence, I guess.
When you were at OVW, and I know you're implementing, you come straight from the improv world, and you're pitching these ideas to probably people that never heard of anything like this, looking at you like you're crazy. Were you able, like before shows, especially at Derby City, did you guys do any of these exercises beforehand?
Yes.
The yes hands and things like that?
With a select few. So I actually took a group to Improv Olympic, Silvio, Paradise Jimmy, Man
Really?
Beast, yeah, and
Very cool.
And Adam Revolver and Fang, and somebody else went. Forgive me if I'm forgetting who it was. And but in my apartment, Serena and others would train improv with me. It was like as much as you can do it without going to Chicago and seeing it. But I kept telling them that. So there was a great group there that was doing like a wrestling parody show. We showed up and did a cage match show against them where the audience votes on who it is. And with really maybe 12, 14 weeks of training, they showed up, and we kicked ass that night. And it was a good time. And to get to be on the Mike Myers, Chris Farley, Tina Fey stage is a cool thing, So I wanted to show wrestlers where I came from and what they did. And even Revolver now still takes a lot of those lessons that I taught him in all of our late night writing sessions on formatting, character development, playing out the game, finding the game, and then heightening and exploring it. He's told me that plenty of times, but that's just really scratching the surface of where we could have gone in what you're talking about in formatting shows. We say, take them on a roller coaster ride. Well, every roller coaster that they do is the exact same one. How many times can you ride the Predator at fucking Darien Lake?
Right.
You know where every twist and turn is coming, right? So I can give you different roller coasters, different setups, different highs and lows, upside downs, going backwards. We never go backwards. Think about that. When the roller coaster gets to the end, you just throw it in reverse. What could you do with that as a format in your own mind starting there? And what comes out of that when you have a group of creatives? It was me, fucking my buddy, my roommate Twinkle Toes Martin Evans from BBC, Man Beast, and Adam Revolver. And we would be up till 3 a.m. Usually Twink would either go to the bars or pass out sometimes, smoking weed and fucking coming up with these creatives, bro. I got Revolver's spiral notebooks, some of them here from 20 years ago of things we would just go through. And then as we did that creatively, one guy would go, oh, what if we did this with him? And then we did that with this world. And then they would collide. And you see that. No, I mean, you can see it on my DVD collection. I don't know where else you're going to see DCW. But when we're in Gorilla about 40, 50 shows in, and Rip Rogers goes, boys, I ain't seen nothing like that before. That's fucking unbelievable.
It is coming from the guy that's seen it all, out on the road.
I just graduated from OVW that day is how I look at it. I stayed for another year, but that to me was proof positive of I got in, learned what Rip wanted me to, combine my shit, and he's never seen what I did. And to me, that was not simple directing, but knowing the players I had, and all of OVW, DCW might not have understood my greater vision, but in their little world of heightening and exploring, they owned it, they knew it, and they would come with ideas how they could heighten their game. Like, and when I say that is you find the game, like let's say Sergio, great fucking worker. All he had to do was a sunset flip and people were going crazy. But we had him start reading poetry. He has a lisp, a lot like what's big man fucking Roman
Cody.
Reigns or Cody, yeah. But he would come out and read poetry to the fat old women of OVW and be sincere with it. And then he started coming up with his own bits like that of being like the Casanova shit, dude. Because until you tell somebody yes, and then how to heighten and explore, that means how do we heighten it from last week and explore where we can go in this realm? Started with poetry, and just to get over as the Mike Awesome fat chick chaser. But what happens when it becomes a real romance with a 65-year-old woman in the crowd, and she's half in on it, but half not in on it? Like, now things are like, oh, the boys in the back are getting around the monitor going, is he going to kiss her, bro? Is he going to kiss her? And if it's in the moment and it's there, then yeah. And everybody pops, and we built something week by week to get to one kiss from a Jack super stud to the lady that's checking you out at fucking the dollar store. Like, isn't that an interesting fucking...
Yes.
The work can handle anything. Del Close. None of these lessons are things I've invented. These are things that I put myself under the mentorship of Rip Rogers, Al Snow, TJ and Dave, Rachel Mason, Susan Messing, and all my coaches in Improv Olympic, dude. And that's handed down from Tina Poehler, or Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Mike Myers. From there, it went from Joel Murray, Bill Murray, and from there it was Del Close, who was a pagan witch heroin addict himself.
The genius in bringing the worlds together is exactly the evolution that pro wrestling needs, because what they're doing now is not growing anything. It's stale as fuck.
It's about creating small little universes within, and then when those Venn diagram circles meet in the sweet spot, the crowd can feel it coming, but they don't know what magic's going to be created there. It's because you invested in the world of Bray Wyatt, and you invested in the world of Randy Orton and RK Bro. When they butt up against each other, what happens when RK Bro gets sucked into the Nightmare on Elm Street Nightmare, and Randy has to go rescue his buddy in the Stranger Things underworld? We never get to that. We have it. We have all the pieces right there to do it.
What a missed opportunity. And
the whole thing could have ended up being, what's the edit? Is that fucking RK Bro got way too stoned and imagined.
I was just exactly where I was going to go. I was just going to have Riddle wake up and just, he was in a bad trip.
It's all right there. It's all right there. But this fucking guy does not know how to get to that point, bro. Triple H does not have that knowledge.
I have a whole episode where Orton, Randy, and Riddle are stuck in that world, and then just suddenly Randy startles Riddle. He's like, dude, we got to go to the main event. And then he just go out for a match. It had nothing to do with anything that we just watched.
Yeah. At OVW, they did a dream sequence that Eugene's whole WWE career was a dream when he came back as Mr. Wrestling Nick Dinsmore.
So that's how they explained he was
in the training. Now. Yeah, he was in the training room. He's like, "You're not gonna believe this. It's crazy, Jay." You know, like it's an easy out, the dream sequence. But what about going into the dream sequence?
Who came up with that? Do you remember?
Danny and him did.
Was it Danny? Okay, yeah. I mean, it's pretty smart to get yourself out instead of just saying no, that didn't happen.
Yeah, he needed him for TV and a different character, but there are no mistakes in every fucking detail. If you quantify it for your audience, that's the nutrients of like, oh, that was so delicious because I fucking watched this guy for 5 or 6 years and they just paid off one little piece of business that referenced something 6 years ago. See what I'm saying? When the roller coaster goes backwards, what happened 6 years ago, if you can make a reference to it now, even if you only touch 1 or 2 people in the audience of 10,000, they're going to turn and go, dude, you know what that meant? That was fucking, they're like, oh, right. Shit, I remember. Like, that's the beauty in the detail, bro. And you don't need a ton of stuff. 1 or 2 little things can drive a scene to where it needs to go. And the other thing we don't do is edit at the high point. That's not an easy thing to do. Like, sometimes we go too far and you miss the edit and you feel it and you're like, shit. But that's the way it goes when you're walking the tightrope in front of a live audience.
Absolutely. Well, that's a perfect answer for what I threw out there for the question of reimagining in the presentation of professional wrestling. We need a major change.
You think Tony Khan knows any of that?
I kind of go back to when you were talking about Tony Khan needing to hand over that control He's so ego driven, thinking that's going to get over. What Tony to me needs to refocus on here is the business practices, because it's visible there with their marketing strategies, their brand awareness. That's where, if I'm him, I'm taking my pride in, and I'm handing over the rest of this stuff.
You know who I would trust because I've watched his stuff and I think he's very funny, but he references like backhand, yes, and things, and I'd like to know more about his history. And I would really like to just sit down and maybe even write a scene or two with him for a show. Is RJ City. I think that guy's got a complete lock on being in the moment when he does his sit downs with dudes, whether they're legends like Rock and Roll Express or others that don't get a chance to be themselves on camera. He gets a better performance out of them than almost anybody because he's doing the kind of the Nardwuar thing of like knowing their history, but then he does backhanded funny things and self-deprecating kind of feminine, throwing himself under the bus. And that's his game. That's how he plays it out. That's a smart thing to do, to be Vlad like Vlad TV, but not putting yourself over. But I know that guy knows improv. I don't know where he studied, but from what I've seen him with the yes and stuff and how he actually plays for 20 minutes, shows everybody that you can be entertaining for 20 minutes and switch things up, even with the Hurt Business where they have to look tough. That back and forth is the game I'm talking about, the relationship, the ping pong and the volley of the scene of, I'm going to tee you up and hit one back and make you look good. You say yes, and if you don't like it, you can negate me by being tough. Hit the ball back over, I'll switch and go again. And we just keep doing that until you feel like, all right, we've gone far enough, edit. And if that just means those guys walking off and he awkwardly ends the thing of like, I'll see you guys, that's fine too. You know what I mean? But that I think that guy's got probably a pretty brilliant mind. And I've said this before. The Nemeth brothers, obviously Dolph Ziggler in the ring is crazy, unbelievable. He's done a lot of stand-up. But Nick Nemeth, not Nick, Ryan trained at Improv Olympic and graduated just like I did. So these fucking lessons are within him as well, bro. So there's few of us, but then when I see, forgive me, I forget her name with the puppet. Cameron, she's on another level too of performance, and so is Chelsea Green. And so is and none of us come from that background shooter wrestler. Our dads made us get down there and learn this and that. We all come from an entertainment background, and we all do it better than our fucking as good. No one's better. I don't want to say that. We stand out a little bit. The entertainment side of this. Killer Kross is another one. Killer Kross is so fucking handcuffed, bro. And Russo was talking about this. That guy is a fucking. You want to talk about somebody who should be going to Hollywood? Not it ain't fucking what's his name on commentary? Pat McAfee. Dude, Killer Kross is ready to be an absolute star 5 years ago. The stuff he was doing himself production-wise is on better production than anything in the WWE. And if that's the case, why not let him be the first guy? He's the only director. He's the only wrestler who gets to direct and book his own shit. Why not? What can go wrong? They've already saddled him with guys who got released twice. Like, you gave him a big stupid mask when he came out. The guy's not that, bro. He's the epitome of fucking walking cool and cinematography at the same time, man. Just so foolish. And his chick's pretty easy on the eyes, too.
So total package of everything we've been talking about here.
And they haven't gotten him over, not a shred.
Well, because they don't understand what the hell you were just talking about.
Should have destroyed Jeff Hardy, but instead they wanted to test him.
Yeah. Yep.
It's asinine.
I do have one more question. Jimmy T and I were talking about this yesterday. Maybe you got some insight into this. I know you got some an opinion on it. With these releases, kind of circle back where we started at here, and the newly official announced relationship with TNA Wrestling and WWE. Do you see? Is WWE going to dictate or hold any kind of influence over who signs the TNA? Who they bring in for their shows or things like that? Is there going to be like an unwritten, we got rid of him for a
I'd
reason.
probably
Or?
have to defer to the vet on that one because he's been covering Impact for us for so long. I mean, I just know the dirt sheet headlines like when D'Amore got released, but who is really the one with the stroke over there right now? I don't know the answer to that. Is it Tommy Dreamer running the book? And what's his name who left WWE and AEW? Jimmy Jacobs. You know, is he on? Is he running the book? And then if that's true, then who's running the money? Because I don't know the answer to those questions. So,
Well, the new president seems to be a money guy that just came in. Endeavor appointed somebody that was from outside of professional wrestling.
And is he connected with the book? Because then it works one way versus the other. Whereas somebody goes to Tommy Dreamer, hey Tommy, we don't want that guy getting over, or we want to bring this guy in and Tommy will get it done. Or do you have to work the money guy to really have control, and the bookers and under guys don't know that's going on, and you're putting information through that way for total control, and then stack the WWE ID program on there for legends who have a wrestling school as a way to beat out all other wrestling schools. This is the fast track is through if you go through this, right? And are you really getting the best education, or are you just helping some legendary workers squeeze everybody for an extra? Their tuition went from $2,500 to $5,000 because they got a WWE ID sticker.
They're getting that fast track now.
And you get to go to Vegas, pay $300 and go, hey, I'm a Booker T guy, or hey, I'm a Bubba guy, and you get the shot. That might be the way to do it. I'm not trying to down that, because that if you're going to play the game, that's it. But if you're in this shit for the long haul and to be great at it, I don't know if that's the best way to do it. Chances are you're going to get in, get signed, have a big head because you didn't work the indies and you're that much better than everybody else because you threw a shot put fucking 400 yards or whatever the fuck. And then you're going to get to the main roster for one thing as a friend of New Day, and then you're fucking released. Like that's.
Then they found out you beat your girlfriend in high school.
Yeah, like that's. And what do they get? They didn't know that beforehand. Like it's just a secret until then and now. Like you botch one fucking plancha, you're a rib, and you're out the fucking door. And then you go to Impact and become a top guy there, and then they buy Impact. So you weren't good enough, but you're good enough for there, and then we want to bring you back because they showed they were. It's a fucking nonstop cycle of stupid. And there's a lot of fucking evil bastards that are working each other. Still, they best time ever, bro, because she got to come up here and now she's on the NXT roster, and Impact's going to be the place to be to get to the okay. What is it really? It's a way to consolidate. They're bringing out Evolve too to go up against Dynamite. All of these moves are to consolidate to defeat AEW. They're not for the good of the business.
Well, running the Saturday night's main event against the Big Texas Stadium show, all of those things.
Yeah. I don't know. Frank asks, how can I have a sexual deviant like D'Amore running a show? Like, bro, I've been
sexual deviant.
Well,
just because
he's with, Giselle.
Yeah, that's just a lifestyle. I don't think it makes him a sexual deviant.
Yeah, well, maybe Frank knows something we don't. I don't disagree. I've worked shows with Giselle.
Was he were they going to them Diddy parties and all that? Was he, on the island?
Well, D'Amore does come from original gangsters in Montreal, bro. Like they fucking, and his family made a shit ton of construction. And in construction, whether you're Donald Trump or whoever, you're butting up. You buy concrete, you're butting up against gangsters, dog. That's what it comes down to.
Some of them up there in Canada like their stir sticks in their syrup, man. That's just the way it is.
But the guy's been in the business, and like I've said it 100 times, bro. This is entertainment. It's carnies, queers, and addicts. Like if you can't wrap your head around that, or you feel uncomfortable around those types of circus folk, then this ain't for you. And I'm not saying that it is for everybody, but that spotlight addiction, or if you're living a lie long enough, chances are you're a pretty good performer at it. That is where the shysters come in, bro. Like or people who live an alternative lifestyle who've had to cover it up. They're pretty good at creating realities for the rest of the world to believe. Usually can make the best performer. It doesn't matter if it's fucking Gary Cooper. He was gay, Gary Cooper, but fucking, or whoever, bro. Like that's what this business has been since Shakespeare time. Since in Shakespearean time, there were no women actors. The men were dressing up in dresses. What kind of CQA is that going on? They carried that all the way to the Follies, as they used to call them, from the 20s and 50s, where men would play women out at Bohemian Grove, and there was all kinds of weird shit going on there too. Ask Richard Nixon about it, if you can find him. That's just the biz. Like, and some people get into a position of power and they abuse it, and whatever they're into, some weird Satanism, I don't know, but fucking Harvey Weinstein to Bill Cosby to Diddy to Jay-Z. It just is a pattern of human nature that is strange and unfortunate. Instead of putting the onus on the artist and actually writing to the height of our ability, behind the scenes, it always ends up in some weird sex show where someone's got an NDA in a rape room and you're in there with your buddy doing things you shouldn't be doing. But that's the weird humans that we are, I guess, man. And I'm glad to be retired and to know that I didn't have a hand in any of that shit.
It just inspired me here for a whole chain now of Diddy escape rooms. That's the new craze for date night. The Diddy
It'll be
escape room.
interesting because no one's brought it up yet, and it's a heat that is a very touchy one to deal with. If you wanted to go off of Trump stuff with transsexual performers, because obviously I don't think Gabby's back in the ring, but Gabe Tough, obviously Nyla Rose, Giselle Shaw, my former student, Cora Valentine, and there's a couple others that I've worked with here. Forgive me, from UPW. I can't think of the name. Shit. But there's throughout the America and the world, there's going to be a fair amount of those trans performers. Now, what does that say with, them living lives as women, being in women's pro wrestling, but women's pro wrestling being fine with it and respecting their boundaries, treating them like women or divas or whatever you want to call them? Then the other side of that is Trump issues that statement, and wouldn't a revolutionary act just be intergender matches? Because the rib of this shit is it's phony and we shouldn't really be hitting each other. So like in making it look real. So through the art form, you could use that as your means of protest by putting on badass intergender matches to go against the foundation of men should not play with women. Well, in pro wrestling, we should. Why? Because we're trusting each other with our bodies, and it shouldn't matter what costume you're dressed up in or what your sexual proclivity is.
It's the same as like a Laura Croft, going out and kicking a bunch of soldiers' asses,
Sure.
or something. Now, all right, so
it's just it raises an interesting conundrum.
Well, another twist. I think another twist in there is you take someone like from the NWA, Max the Impaler. Who doesn't use any of that he, she kind of pronouns. It's just a we or a they. It doesn't identify in any of those genres, really.
This is an opportunity to use your art form as a revolutionary act. If you really believe that and toe the line, then you should step into it and own it and fucking say, this is going to get me views. And I'm going to have the sit down interview of how I don't agree with the president's politics. And this is how I'm using my art form to further the conversation, not just cry about shit, but to show a character that's righteous and does cross all boundaries, and that it isn't about what you identify as. It's about the human spirit and soul at the end of the day. And what you really need is a Trump level, ignorant bigot heel who doesn't want to hear that.
You need someone that's brave enough, that's brave enough to play that role.
And at the end of the day, it's not defeating them. It's that the bigot rethinks,
becomes educated, and switches the side.
Right. And usually that will be after a war of mutual respect. And then another heel comes to take out the babyface trans person, and their original bigoted heel has respect for them now and steps up as the shield to protect them, or the person to come make the cavalry save when they need it the most. And then and it's not for the characters, it's for the conditioning of the audience for them to understand what the human fighting spirit really is, and that sometimes the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. For it to work, though, just like when I saw that Bowens had done some trademark stuff with, like Gay Pride Wrestling, things like that, you need that ultimate heel. You need that quote unquote stereotype from the MAGA voter that's completely against that to step up and play that ultimate villain to teach the lesson, to show what you're trying to demonstrate. It's just not coming out and preaching. Everyone should. It's accepted. This is cool now. No, you need to show that through the actions in the story.
And then you have to get to the highest level after you've explored that for, let's say that's a 2-year run, 3-year me and Dick Justice run with a gay character and a homophobic heel. Do they find mutual respect and coexist? That's probably the best way. Or you have to say, was that heel nothing more than a self-loathing homosexual the whole time?
No time.
And then there was it, and fucking like these are the choices that are on the table, right? Like, because they are real ones from every day, and you can make fun of them and not do them to the height of your character's emotional intelligence, but then your audience is going to see right through it. If you play it true and you build to that moment, even when it seems like they may come out of the closet and they don't, you don't have to go, everything's fabulous. You can push it there. And the best acting we do is when we say nothing at all. And if someone was to test that person, you could give the answer in a look that would make people go, they definitely are. Did you see that? Or I don't know, maybe they're not, and they're just a righteous person. And you let the audience,
the illusion is more powerful.
Let the audience decide. Yes, you if you do it with a look and you don't quantify it, but you have to set it up, play the game out to the height of that moment of that we all know the Venn diagram, and in that moment where they intersect is, are they going to say I am or I'm not? And you let the audience fill it in, and then everybody feels satisfied.
There we go. Good conversation, man. Another good Monday locker room here, going to the next level.
Yeah, you have phenomenal questions, Rick. I'm so thankful to be able to pass on the knowledge of my masters and my experience on stage.
It ultimately
what could be,
right. You got so many people out there praising the product like it's the best it's been, because we've been conditioned that complete and utter shit, that now what we're getting looks like it's so far superior that people think it's excellent, but we're still only operating it. Maybe we'd say at best 40% is what we're getting here.
And look at the strange bipolarness of our society, that will be fed shit and fucking take their daughters to be brainwashed by Taylor Swift, and then they will turn on them at the Super Bowl after they're full up of shit and tired of having this marketing bullshit forced on us, and then within 28 or 40 minutes later at halftime, they will take a big bite out of another shit sandwich and go, isn't this delicious? And start the process all over again from the same marketing execs, from the same liars, from the same rat race to go find the cheese. It's a very powerful lesson in operant conditioning and how marketing truly works.
It's crazy, man. One of the things I love about the Monday locker room, it's just not headlines. And I hope that we're teaching people that we both come with it from that perspective, the business side and the marketing of it.
Yeah, and the creative want for greatness. Like we should never be satisfied as artists. No great painter ever really looks at their canvas and go, it was done. It's the best I ever could have done. They're always going, I wish the fucking sunlight was different, or this shade was a little and that's the tortured soul of being passionate about your art form, bro. Like, he's just better. He's just, I just want it to be great. I just want it to be great, dude, for everybody. So, all right. Well, y'all infidels, I feel like we were great here. You guys were great in the chat room, even though Rick couldn't see. We were up to 56 strong. Appreciate all the legends, all the hardcore hackers out there joining us, all the Bearcats and all the channelattitude.com subscribers. It's nice to have a day off from Ravens joint, but I'll be fucking out there shoveling my ass off, which I'm trying to work on my spine a bit. I did some yoga today, feeling good, man. Checked in on Stevie. He's having a better day too. So I hope you are too, Rick, man. Love you and glad to be on with you today, buddy. And Frig, come shovel this goddamn snow.
There we go, brother. Hopefully no shovels needed here in Ohio, but we were expecting that cold. But we plan on making more of a regular thing of it here as I'm settled in at a better quarters here. So going to be more available for the Monday afternoons.
Good, buddy. Can't wait. And you guys keep it locked. Keep subscribing to channelattitude.com and keep spreading the word. All those great Kaz clips. We got some more great traction this week, and who knows where I'll show up. It was good being on with Rip Rogers and Dylan Bostic and Vaughn last week, and doing Cafe de Rene as well. So making the rounds, you guys. But you know where it is. You want that real inside creative talk. There's only one place. It's here on Hameen Media Group. The Monday, the Friday locker room, and all the great review shows in between. Yalla.
His wife, she's going to be raped by a motorcycle gang.
Oh, my.